ethic was the bottom line, feast or famine. And I worked since I was age 10, strawberry picking, bean picking, waitressing, hostessing, babysitting, all things, exchanging time for money. And I just decided at age 10, there was no way I could sit between four walls and punch a time clock when somebody else was telling me my worth based on the salary I got paid. So I never went that route. Thank the Lord, because, there's so many things out there that you can do today.
Evening, and welcome to another episode of the Mindset Master Podcast. I'm your host, TonyReed, and I'm also the proprietor of the podcast. Now, in today's episode, we have a very special guest by the name of Miss Janette Lowry. Hey, Janette, how you doing today?
Doing great, Tony. Finally, we meet, huh?
I know, right? Finally.
It's been a month or so going back and forth, so it's nice to meet you. This is about going from poor to residual wealth and showing people a pathway to exit the corporate world. And
let's show them how to exit the corporate world then. So let's get started, Janette, by kind of telling us a little bit about kind of who you are, like a little bit about your background, and then we can kind of get into how you are where you are now.
Name is Janette Lowry, and I'm one of 6 kids. My parents got married at 18 and 19, had the first son, and I was 1 year and 1 month later. And then boom, 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 6 kids, like in a window, small window. And my eldest brother was born with a mental challenge. So I was actually looked at as the oldest child. So I became a mini mom at a very early age, where when mom had to go back to work after parents divorced, I got everybody up in the morning, put them on the bus for school, packed their lunches. So I became very organized and very methodical in my day-to-days. I also was introduced to gymnastics. Thank the Lord, because my PE teacher took about 5 of us out of PE class and said, "Hey, do you guys want to stay after and tumble?" And this was about 4th grade. Said, "Yes, get me out of the chaos at home." So one thing led to another. The National Academy of Artistic Gymnastics opened an Olympic training center in my backyard in Eugene, Oregon. And so I entered that as a pupil and worked my way up. 10 years later, competed for high school and college, and spent my life in the gym, learning all the good habits for staying youthful, healthy, and all that jazz. So that's basically my backstory.
I love that right there, Janette. And I love gymnastics also. So I used to could run up a wall and do a backflip, and I used to could tumble and do aerials and things like that.
Yeah.
But I can't anymore because I had a motorcycle wreck when I was 18, and I went off a bluff and I hit my lower back on the logs. After that happened, I have full mobility now by the grace of God, but I'm not able to arch my back and do a backflip like I used to, but I used to love gymnastics.
Well, we have that in common too, because I blew my knee out my senior year at the University of Oregon. It was a Billy Sims type knee injury, posterior cruciate shred. So the knee is doing things it shouldn't be doing. And it took about 2 years to rehab that knee. But because of my knee not straightening out all the way for the next 25 years, I walked with a little bit of a limp. I always wore a brace, had every potion you can imagine on my knee for pain, chiropractic, the whole bit, until my back gave out. And then I had lower back surgery. So I do have a L4, 5, and 6. I've got a little brace in there, and I feel young again. But, injuries take its toll on the body. And like you said, by the grace of God, it's healed.
It's like my dad, he just had he had a cage put in, and he had a
That's
spinal
what mine
fusion.
is. The cage.
And I want to say he had his L5, 6, and 7, something like that, fused together. And he hates the fact that he had to do that, Janette, for one reason, because he can't ride his Harley Davidson anymore. Because he can't lift up that iron, that 1,100-pound motorcycle.
Yes.
So he's thinking about selling it and getting him a Honda Goldwing trike.
Pain relief is so, it just brings back 20 years of life. Honestly, for me, it did. Anyway, yeah, I love having a cage in my back.
That's how my dad feels. He was like, yes, and he was like, son, I'm 65 years old. And he said, I feel a hell of a lot better than I'm, just like you just said, he feels like he's 44 again.
Bio age is so different than how we feel. And it's how we treat our bodies, basically.
It's like, I try to purify my body, Janette, by eating like meatless food. Sometimes at least 2 or 3 times a week, I have like a meatless dinner or like a meatless breakfast, like Beyond Meat or Impossible Meat or something like that. And then that kind of cleans my system out. So that way I can stay happy and stay healthy as well.
Plant-based is a great protein source, but people don't realize how much protein they really need. You need 1 gram of clean protein for every pound of your desired body weight. So for instance, 125 pounds, I need 125 grams of protein throughout the day. And most women I talk to go, there's no way. I'd be eating all day and I'd gain 10 pounds in a week. But what they don't realize is when you turn that fuel into muscle with resistant exercise, you can use soup cans for heaven's sakes, but any kind of resistant exercise, it keeps the metabolism going, which you need to burn the fuel. And that's really the big crap people get into. Eating food makes us toxic. All the toxic chemicals in the world right now we breathe and drink and eat. And, unless you can get that cleaned out, detoxed, you're going to have weight issues. You're going to have chronic disease issues. And it's all treatable by making the right choice of what to put in your mouth.
That's like I always tell my wife. I always tell my wife, like, babe, you can't be mad because you gained 2 or 3 pounds when you was out eating Popeyes and out eating fried food and stuff like that. I'm not knocking Popeyes and I love it, but I'm like, if you're trying to be on like a quest to lose weight, you can't really be out eating it. You need to be eating grilled or baked and stuff like that, and you have to exercise. And so now she understands that.
And I just find a lot of there's just a missing piece in this whole food, nutrition, dense nutrition versus exercise there's a gap. One of my parts of my program is trying to bring that gap together so it makes sense, why all this works together. That's how I'm designed. I'm a generator by human design measures. And, I love digging into research. I've been a student of studying and lifetime learning since 10. Since I decided I was going to be an entrepreneur, because I watched my dad build his own insurance company from scraps to a lifestyle he afforded us kids, skiing on the weekends, camping, snowmobiling, because of the recurring income that his insurance company that he built from the ground up made. I knew insurance wasn't my bag, but I had to find a way to leverage myself through the efforts of others. Recurring income. It's the only way to have lifestyle. And I love teaching that to women, especially because it doesn't matter what your background is. That's the beautiful thing about working in my arena. You can have a PhD and you can have 20 letters behind your name, or you can be a maid and a single mom. And the one that has the deepest desire for change is the one who's going to make the most money.
I love that right there, Janette, because like you said, like your father's an entrepreneur and he built his own insurance company. See, a lot of kids would see their father or their mother making money and stuff like that and affording to go skiing and things, snowmobile expeditions and things like that. Oh, you know what? Life is too good. I'm not going to do nothing with my life. I'm just going to sit back, relax, and go do this. But you did not do that. You let that inspire you even more, and I admire you for that.
Stewart is my maiden name, so we've got Irish and we've got German and we've got French Indian. And work ethic was the bottom line, feast or famine. And I worked since I was age 10. Strawberry picking, bean picking, waitressing, hostessing, babysitting. I mean, I had all things, exchanging time for money. And I just decided at age 10, there was no way I could sit between 4 walls and punch a time clock when somebody else was telling me my worth financially based on the salary I got paid. So I never went that route. Thank the Lord, because, there's so many things out there that you can do today because of the internet, social media, technology, automation, AI. I believe every setback we have is a lesson to learn that we can step onto as a new platform to move forward. I don't look at life challenges as why me, like the victim mentality. There's a lot of people that have not figured out why they're wired that way. And it gets back to the paradigms. You were raised in a home with grandpa and grandma. They had their own traditions, rituals, beliefs they indoctrinated you with. I use that word loosely.
Yes,
But we are all indoctrinated. I mean,
Mhm.
we're brainwired by the age of 7.
Mhm.
Whatever our parents think, believe, and do as traditions and rituals, we've picked up on subconsciously. And as we start adulting, we have this program still running in the back of our head. Don't notice it. Every decision we make is based on that voice. And unless and until you can recognize those things that are holding you back from stepping into your future or stepping into what you really want to do in life, your gut's telling you you've been blessed with to step forward into, then you stay stuck. And that for me is the saddest people to work with when they
Mhm.
cannot see beyond themselves to really start interpreting and doing pattern interruptions and new tools to stop that chatter and reframe it to create a new one, a new voice. So, it takes 30 days for a habit, but it takes 90 days of practicing consistently to adopt a new pattern. And that's really where paradigms come down to. 90 days is nothing, just so you've got a methodology to click your brain. I use rubber bands or clap or do something that's physical that I used to say cancel, 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 talk to that voice, you know, and then go, how can I reframe that? Oh, but money is so hard to come by, or money doesn't grow on trees, some of the stuff we
Mhm.
grew up with, or don't waste your food. There's starving kids in the world,
Mhm.
things like that. It's like, how is that keeping you stuck in whatever rut you're in that you can't get out of? And unless and until you can interrupt those patterns, boy, it's hard to reinvent a future.
And I love that technique that you said with the rubber band and with the clap.
Yeah, you have to involve, you can't just say it without a voice.
Yes.
Something that physically you do, because that is going to wake up the cells in the body and have them march in a different order.
Now, piggybacking off of that right there, Janette, I want to ask you this question right here. How can a mom, per se, particularly, how can she reclaim her time and her own financial independence?
I became an accidental entrepreneur. I call myself in 1990. We just got back from Michigan. Husband was done with football, selling medical supplies, and I was teaching fitness classes, raising a 2-year-old. A girlfriend called me and said, look, I know that you like good skincare. I want you to try some product and give me your opinion. I'm like, cool. Wine and cheese, the girls get together. Those products made a huge difference on my skin. The nutrition made a difference in my body. Being an athlete, I was used to vitamins and bars and all that stuff. So this was just higher quality. For the next 2 years, people just asked me, what are you doing? You look different. Why do you have so much energy teaching at 6 a.m. to a room full of 100 people that go to work? So I just started sharing word of mouth. One thing led to another. Well, within a few years, I got a check for $10,000
Mhm.
in my mailbox, because back then we didn't have videos, didn't have audios, we didn't have cell phones, didn't have the internet. So it was truly belly to belly, word of mouth, sharing with other people. I was ready to call the company and say, I think you've made a mistake. This check just showed up in my mailbox. Oh no, we didn't make a mistake. So I finally get a phone call from somebody who was making more money because of my work. And that's how I learned about network marketing back in the day.
Mhm.
I decided right then, 7 years of building that company. When the divorce occurred, I had 2 kids, 9 and 2 at the time. Both, by the way, were born December 10th, 7 years apart. I decided that this recurring income is a good thing. And so when I stepped away to, heal, the money didn't stop. And every month I got a check, and it didn't explode, but it didn't go down. And so I was able to sustain myself as a single mom, doing the carpools, doing the charities, heading up the auctions for the schools, doing sports runs for 20 years, because I found the right company at the right time for me. I went into retirement. Kids left the nest, and I had to decide, do I want to come out of retirement? When COVID hit, I knew I had to get my butt out of retirement, because I had the tools. I had the background. All I needed to do is learn the internet and automation and all that stuff that I was missing. So I hired coaches for a couple of years, and I just wanted to get moms home. That was my
Mhm.
total desire, because I know how my kids, it favored them growing up, given the fact that I was able to be home, especially when their dad was gone. So I really have a passion for getting moms home, at least one parent home. I don't care if it's a mom or dad, whatever the, parent is that is best with the kids, they need us. And so I was angry listening to my friends who were watching their kids learn school on Zoom and the crap they were being taught. And I said, wow, if I don't have a mission to help women, families, then I'm not worth anything. So I came back out of retirement. A girlfriend had called me for 5 years saying, get out of retirement. I found the company. So one thing led to another, and leveraged income is the hero. Really, that's the only way I can see most people if you're starting a new business in your 30s, 40s, 50s, to develop a recurring income that does not impact or not affected by just you showing up. It's no longer exchanging time for money. It's teaching 10 people to go after their dreams, and they've got customers they serve. I make an override based on how much I can help them get to their goals. And that's a beautiful thing. So it's a win.
More people need to know about that residual income like that. I mean, people need to learn about that. So I know like what you're talking about, but some of our listeners or some of our viewers, they may not know exactly what you're talking about. Let's just say if somebody wants to do something that doesn't just involve them. Typically, we're taught to, when you do work, you got to be involved. You
exchanging time for money. Yes. You'll never retire if you're just exchanging time for money. How can you retire?
It's one thing that I did not like about when I cut hair, that I had to be at the barbershop 12 hours in this 20 by 20 room, and it was just, I couldn't really do anything. And it wasn't until I went out to California and Arizona when I started changing my brain about that.
Multiple income streams. If you do not have more than one income stream, you are putting all your eggs in one basket. And today, the workforce, when COVID hit, 49 million Americans said, I'm done exchanging time for money, and they left corporate America. And if you don't think that AI or younger generations, less expensive for corporations to hire because of the medical insurance in particular, if you don't think you're expendable, you are wrong, because we're seeing it every day. So you really have to, just harness up, find your passion first and your why. I always teach digging deep. Just do a brain dump. Take some paper and a pen. Quiet time. I used to go in my closet, honest to God, to escape from my kids when I needed quiet time. Just take some hours for yourself and brain dump. Just start writing goals, dreams. Don't stop yourself from dreaming. Just let it flow. Just really brain dump. And you'll go back 3 hours later when you're done, and you'll just go, wow. And I will believe, because I've been teaching this for 34 years, I will believe that you will find that nugget in that brain dump, and it'll tell you the direction you should be looking. I'm not in network marketing because I love network marketing. I love the products. I love people, and I've got a skill and talent for coaching. It just works. But what I love is the time freedom and the recurring income it affords me. So people have different reasons for getting into this industry, and it's not to become a professional network marketer. I teach affiliate marketing for hair salons, med spas, barbershops, health clubs, chiropractors in the health and beauty span, because affiliate marketing through the same company is set up differently, but it adds that second stream of income that they can make on a weekly basis. There's a lot of options out there. It's just finding somebody that knows what they're doing. There's a lot of crap out there. I say never touch a company that's under 10 years old, because for the majority of them, they're gone. You don't have a legacy asset at that point. See, my business, I can will, and it's in my trust for my kids. When I'm gone, the business continues. The money doesn't stop. And all they have to do is order their personal products every month to get a check.
And that's one thing that I've done to make passive income. When I was selling cars, my boss was like, Reed, how did you do that? And he put an idea in my head, and he put that seed in my head. But I'm so happy that I planted that seed and grew that
Mm,
seed.
yes.
Because what I done, Janette, I started making video courses on like Udemy, and then people started buying my courses. They
Like,
wasn't buying them
yep.
like hotcakes initially. And I did
Uh-huh.
get a little discouraged. I was like, man, nobody really want to listen to me. It wasn't until maybe 5 or 6 months later, then it was like, oh my God, I got like a $300 check, via my PayPal account. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put, your content in a vault that lives on
Mhm.
forever. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? If I can make money off that, let me write a book. So I wrote 2 books, and that's what the 2 books are behind me
Wow.
right here. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so we're gonna put
Turning a
these on
customer into a super
Audible.
fan. I love that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So
Yeah.
when I first initially started out, I guess quick backstory on that. When I first initially started out, because my manager said I was good with talking to people and helping people make money in sales.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the companies that I was doing business with, as far as I was coaching them, the companies when I was
Okay.
in Arizona, they had terrible customer service. And I would always listen to like their phone calls and their customer service, CSR reps and stuff like that. And
Oh
I'll be
gosh.
like, "Man, you know what? Y'all need to turn y'all customers into super fans. Tony Reed can show you how to turn a customer into a super fan." And I said,
Love
damn,
it.
it'll be a good book title. So that's how that came about.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, I've used that term for decades. My customers become super fans
Mhm.
of what these products do in their body because they see and feel a difference, period, and a story. Otherwise, you can't convince them to keep
Mm-mm.
ordering their product. That auto ship, ever since Amazon hit the market, e-shopping is the way of the future. Brick and
Yes.
mortars are shutting down. You're going to
Mhm.
be buying your product through your phone. If you're not already, it's the future. So,
Yes.
what part of that future do you have a grasp on? Because there
Mhm.
is billions of dollars. And my company is 24 international markets. So, I can have a hair salon in Vancouver, Washington, who talks to a client about the collagen. The client gets results. Her neighbor asks her, "Oh my God, your skin looks amazing." My joints don't hurt anymore. Things that collagen, 5 grams of marine collagen does in the body. And they may have a family that lives in Japan. So the $9 billion company that's my partner does all that heavy lifting for me. And I just
Yes.
log into my back office and yen is exchanged to US dollar, whatever, and it's deposited weekly into my account. You don't have to have a lot of capital to start a business. If you find the right company with a
Mhm.
system in place, a proven background, and strong enough products that you don't have to convince people to order them.
Piggybacking off of that right there, we talked about reclaiming your time and financial independence. What is one key tip that a mom can do to get herself going? Let's just say she hears our conversation. She's like, man, you know what, Janette, she's putting it down good, but I'm still fearful. I'm still scared to put myself out there to make that passive residual income.
Mhm.
What would you recommend that she do?
Well, I have some free lead magnets, I call them freebies for you that you
Ooh,
can put in the show notes. And
yes.
one of them is called Check the Pantry. And
Okay.
this is for the woman that is struggling to lose weight. This is the woman that has been through menopause or hasn't eaten right or doesn't know how to exercise. It's basically doing a mirror check in your kitchen, taking inventory of what's in the cupboard, what's in the cabinets, what's in the fridge. And so I've got it really nicely laid out in a little workbook form. That's number one, because when you start realizing what you're putting in your own mouth, but you're also, if you have kids, putting it in their mouths. And the obesity rate with our kids under the age of 9 right now is 50% with kids. And it's not just our faults. I mean, the sugar industry hijacked our food 45 years ago and addicted us to sugar. You know what? If you're going to trust medicine to bail you out, they're not going to help you get healthy. They're just going to give you solutions to keep that coming back. More and more medicines, more and more doctor visits. So you really have to take wellness into your own hands without putting pressure on moms, because I've been there. I used to meal prep on Sundays, took my whole Sunday and bought the groceries, meal prep for the whole week. It doesn't have to be that way. But you first have to figure out, am I eating the right things? or not. And that's part of my training program with women. So that's one. The other one is really looking into your paradigms. And it's called Girl, Quit Looking in the Rear View Mirror. Forward focus, baby. And it really makes them dig into their mind, how it works, how it operates, where these things came from. Here's a great example. It's simple, but this helps you realize generations of pot roast dinners on Sunday. Great grandma used to cut the butts off the pot roast, put them in the pan, cook. Grandmother did the same thing. My mother did the same thing. I started doing the same thing. It's like, why the hell? Why are we doing this to the pot roast? Well, great grandma didn't have a pan big enough for the pot roast to fit in. So she always had to cut the ends off. And you're thinking all these years of there must be something that it makes it taste better. No, there was just no pan in the kitchen that was big enough for the pot roast. It can be a paradigm that's passed down. It's not going to hurt you or injure you, but just thinking about something that simple that we pick up on, it's routine, it's automatic pilot. But when you have those automatic pilots on money issues, health issues, or weight issues, or confidence issues, which are the three biggies I find with women, especially, we just have to peel back that onion one layer at a time. And it really starts with getting this healthy first, and then this healthy next, and this will come. You will never outgrow your income until you've grown up yourself. And that is such a truism. Taking, classes, courses, listening to audios, listening to, Kindle, watching Kindle, podcasts, things that can help you get rid of the boob tube. It's not going to make you money. You're paying a recurring expense every month with your cable setup. Do that which helps you grow, because the more you can grow personally, your confidence level will start coming up. I can help you with the body changes, no problem. I can help you with digging deep into the paradigms, no problem. And I can give you the structure for creating recurring income as well as upfront income, because I have the system in place, the structure, and I'm not just a book read coach. I've experienced it. I've lived it. That's the way I like to roll. And it doesn't happen overnight. But boy, if you could take 7 years out of your life and just say, this is going to be a journey of growth. And in that 7-year window, these are the goals I want to attain, with a measuring stick, a time frame that we can plan out the activities, actions, things like that. You'll look back in 7 years and go, I don't even recognize myself, which is really where a lot of women want to be, especially if they're raising kids right now or they're elderly parents taking care of them. They want that change. They desire that change. They want to show up as the woman they always knew they could be, but just didn't have that opportunity to do it. And I'm just saying, look, hold my hand. We'll walk side by side and I'll show you the way. So I love doing that. It's my happy place.
Last question here. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Now, let's just say one of our listeners are like, you know what? I want to get in touch with Janette. I listened to her on the Mindset Master podcast. How can I get in touch with her? How can our listeners get in touch with you, Janette?
Well, I'm going to give you some of the free resources so that you can put that in show notes. And my website is just my name, JanetteLowry.com. And I've got different things on there. There's a link that you can click on it and book an appointment with me. We'll have a chat, look at some of the videos I've got on there, see if something I'm offering might fit. I'm going to be doing a boot camp here in a month for those women that are into weight wellness and they want to really know how to take their bodies back, because it's not just about the food. It's about the protein. It's about lowering the stress hormone, cortisol, and it's about metabolism. So different things that we cover that will make sense. And when you start seeing results, you go, wow, I wish I'd learned this 20 years ago, because it's life-changing for people. So JanetteLowry.com.
Please take Janette up on what she just said. Like everything that we just talked about on the podcast, please listen to what we said and please start applying it to your life. No more being scared, no more being timid, no more any of that. Just take a leap of faith. You got this. You can do this.
You can do this. I put the belief into people that I work with initially until they've got that belief in themselves. Find a partner like that can infuse that belief into you, because I believe we are just superhuman beings and we just don't even tap into our greatness. Teeny bit of it. But there's so much more.
Man, thank you for being on the Mindset Master podcast. Until next time, I'll catch you later.